Hello, my name is Asha Sampath and welcome to this new edition of Business Africa, your magazine dedicated to the continent's business and economic news. As usual, you can win $150 in our Business Africa game. More details later, but first, today's top stories. Almost 100 new startups created thanks to the Ghana Innovation Hub, a growing ecosystem in the country.
Here in the Ghana Innovation Hub, we have a shelf where we showcase the products of our entrepreneurs. So all these products you see here are samples of what they do, and in a way of helping them, we advertise it for them.
Making way for young activists in Uganda, a new generation is taking the issue of climate change in hand.
I came here today to collect some plastics and take them to the dumping areas, as our mission is to beat pollution out of Uganda.
Cassava is not only nutritious, coveted by industry, it is increasingly appealing to African farmers.
Knowledge has been imparted into these farmers and they know how to produce good cassava. And the most important thing is how now do we appreciate their effort by linking them to good markets.
In Ghana, many startups lack the skills to run a business and operate in a competitive environment. Like in many developing countries, the deficit is clearly identified. Lack of advanced skills, access to capital and technology that is actually lacking. To remedy this, the government of Ghana is relying on startup incubators, and they're popular with entrepreneurs. Our journalists George Ibo Saki and John Awotwi visited one of them, the Ghana Innovation Hub.
With the establishment of the new support services firm, the Ghana Innovation Hub, Ghana's authorities are helping entrepreneurs like Folasade Rufai of Dawa Foods make their businesses more competitive, not just in the local market, but internationally too.
At the time when I applied for the program, I did not have any properly structured financial management in place for my business. And as I speak now, I have been assisted through the program to have a better bookkeeping and financial management structure for my business. I've also been able to meet friends here who have introduced me to people who can stock my products.
The Ghana Innovation Hub was established by Ghana's Ministry of Communication with funding from the World Bank. Since its creation in 2019, the centre has engaged with over 2,000 youth groups with entrepreneurship training programs. As a result, about 90 new companies are being trained or are at various stages of development.
We have three main partners in the implementation. So I myself work for MDF West Africa, but we also partner with GCTU and Blue Space Africa. So it's a consortium of three organizations that's managing the space and also running the programs here.
The companies enjoying GIH's support vary from agro-processing, packaging, to technology-based industries and firms offering innovative solutions. The centre provides workspaces for businesses, conference rooms for training, and workshops and meeting rooms for planning, networking and engagement. The hub also has space to showcase the products of trainees for marketing and promotional purposes.
Here in the Ghana Innovation Hub, we have a shelf where we showcase the products of our entrepreneurs. So all these products you see here are samples of what they do, and in a way of helping them, we advertise it for them. When someone walks in, they can get their contacts from here, then call them to make their purchases.
Centres like the Ghana Innovation Hub are essential to reducing youth unemployment in Ghana by teaching young entrepreneurs and innovators to navigate the business world through skills development and resource assistance. The Innovation Hub is helping youth to economically support themselves through entrepreneurship and business development while reducing the pressure on the government to provide public sector jobs for its youth.
two companies that were in that first cohort. One is processing egg into dried egg powder, which is used for pharmaceuticals. And they've now grown to a stage where they're also doing other products and other poultry products. And they are now in the Orange Corners acceleration program. So they have grown their business to a level that they need support in formalizing their financing, their financial management, but also their sales and distribution. So that is one example. Another example is Tropical Growers, who is also, it was in that same cohort of Innovate GH. They are doing lettuce and herbs with aquaponics. So hydroponics, it's a water-based growing system. You don't need soil.
With the appropriate level of investment and resources from the government and other development partners, the centre has the potential to give many more young entrepreneurs the needed assistance to bring their innovative ideas and visions to contribute towards Ghana's industrialization drive.
And it was late last month that the Pan-African organization AfriLab celebrated its 10th anniversary at its annual meeting in Abuja, Nigeria. Founded in 2011, AfriLabs has been and continues to be a decisive support for all startup hubs on the continent, like the very dynamic ecosystem of startups in Ghana precisely. To discuss this development more in detail and the preparation of a law that would frame the growth of the sector in Ghana, I'm joined from Accra by Brian Denzi, tech analyst and co-founder of the Honode Hub. Brian Denzi, hello and thank you for joining me on Business Africa. We've just heard in this report, hubs are very successful in Ghana, a country recording already more than 500 startups in 2018. How do you explain these developments?
Your data is right. There is an explosion of the number of startups in Ghana. And this can be attributed to several reasons. But first, let's say that the last decade, a lot of good foundation has been laid for the startup ecosystem. First is there's been a lot of alignment in policy from the government. So we've seen, for instance, the government have drafted an entrepreneurship policy with a focus on startups. And then it has also established an agency, a new agency called the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, which received a seed funding of $10 million and was tasked to raise extra $100 million from the private sector. And they have invested in over 2,000 startups in the last 3 years. And that's significant. That's really what is causing the boom. Now, in the last few years, there were only about 3 to 5 innovation hubs in the capital city. As we speak today, there are over 60 innovation hubs across the country. There are 16 regions in Ghana, and in each region, there is at least 2 innovation hubs. What that means is that the startup ecosystem has been democratized. Any young person in any part of the country with a good idea can walk into these innovation hubs, build their skills, and start their own businesses.
Mais comment financer ces startups?
There's been a lot of growth in funding. Partech, which is an investor firm, did a report last year. And it's according to their report, over $111 million was invested in startups in Ghana just last year. And that's significant, just below South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria. So with this investor interest, that means more people now begin to start businesses and we're hoping to get more funding. And it's not just investment that is coming, but there are exits as well. And that's what's even more exciting for investors. So they're not just putting their money, but they are seeing exits which are interesting.
But what about the funding of these startups?
There's been a lot of growth in funding. Partech, which is an investor firm, did a report last year. And it's according to their report, over $111 million was invested in startups in Ghana just last year. And that's significant, just below South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria. So with this investor interest, that means more people now begin to start businesses and we're hoping to get more funding. And it's not just investment that is coming, but there are exits as well. And that's what's even more exciting for investors. So they're not just putting their money, but they are seeing exits which are interesting.
So there's government support and there's a lot of funding in Ghana still. You're an advocate of a Startup Act that already exists in Tunisia and Senegal. What more could it bring to the startups ecosystem?
So even though there's good activity, there's still a lot more to be done to get it to the level where we really want it to. And I'm really excited about the Startup Act because I believe it's the catalyst that would spur the innovation ecosystem in Ghana. So I'll summarize, because it's a big document, I'll summarize three ways the Startup Act would be beneficial to the ecosystem. The first one, for me, it's about labeling, giving a label to what a startup is. Now, if you meet 3 people, professors or anybody on the street, what a startup is, you get 3 different answers. So it's important for us to clearly define what a startup is in our context. And then what you do is that it will help in policy making, because we can clearly differentiate the kind of incentives that should be go for startups and the ones that should go for SMEs and the one that should go for big companies. And beside the labeling, it also help us to, it improves trust. The second thing for me is a pack of incentives. So for instance, there are tax breaks for startups. They're not supposed to pay tax to, up to a certain year. There's support for them to registering their intellectual property. There's some stipends for those who actually start business so that they focus on building their startup. So there's a whole myriad of incentives to support and to propel startups. And lastly, for me, which is about funding investment. So we are not only looking at the entrepreneur or the startup, but we're looking at how can we encourage more investors, especially angel investors into the ecosystem. The more investment we have in the innovation ecosystem, the more people will be able to start new businesses. And the end result is sustained economic development. That is where we want to be. So we believe the Startup Act is very important. We are excited about it, and we are really excited that the government is actually supporting this drive. And hopefully it will be passed into law, just like what was done in Tunisia and Senegal.
Thank you very much, Brian Dancy. COP26 has brought some progress to African nations. Among these advances, the creation of the African Green Finance Coalition, which should help channel private investments in infrastructure adapted to climate change and low carbon emissions. Finally, around 100 countries, including the Democratic Republic of the Congo, have pledged to stop deforestation and land degradation within 9 years. Public and private funding of $19.2 billion is expected. Half will come from international financial institutions committed to no longer invest in deforestation-related activities. And in Africa, young people are increasingly embracing these challenges posed by climate change. Example in Uganda, a country where determined young women have become real actors in the fight against environmental degradation. These Greta Thunbergs from the African continent do not hesitate to mobilize other students to participate in plastic recycling operations or to raise awareness in favor of alternative energies. Young climate activists like Vanessa Nakate and Leah Namugawa are paving the way. We caught up with them in Kampala. A light but persistent cloud of pollution floats above Kampala, the capital of Uganda. Like many metropolises on the continent, the city of 1.5 million inhabitants might appear at first glance resigned to traffic jams and the deterioration of the environment. But on certain weekends, small groups of students gather discreetly for a rather special mission: to collect plastic waste for recycling purposes.
Yes, I came here today to collect some plastics and take them to the dumping areas, as our mission is to beat pollution out of Uganda. What inspired me was that at our place, there is a man who is a garbage collector. So I have been seeing him since my childhood doing that. He's the one who taught me, is the one actually who inspired me about doing that. Because he said, if we can do that, we can beat pollution, whereby it was our mission.
What also gave wings to the determination of Maurice and his friends with the example of Leah Namugawa and Vanessa Nakate, 2 young girls from Kampala determined to force the authorities to ban plastic bags.
Kampala is mostly polluted with plastic bags everywhere, and I doubt if anyone wants a dirty city. So I think people feel bad because of the plastics that are going on, and then our government implementing the ban and they're not enforcing it.
The plastic pickup activity, I carry it out every Saturday, and I always have a few friends that join me. In most cases, we are 6 in number, and we choose a specific place where we go and do some cleaning, and also teach the people that it is important for us to have proper waste disposal. In Uganda, plastic was banned, but it was not implemented. We have the policies, but they have not been implemented. Therefore, it's up to us, the citizens, to actually put these policies into implementation and have plastic pollution completely kicked out of the country.
Raising awareness of the threat of global warming is at the root of Vanessa's environmental commitment. For Leah, the click came in October 2018 during catastrophic landslides which caused around 50 deaths.
I'd not seen the effects, how it is making people suffer. So when I really saw these disturbing images because of deforestation, what teachers were teaching us in schools, it really gave me a clear picture of what we should do because of climate change that is taking place and the climate crisis that we're suffering.
From there came a strong commitment. Leah, the high school student, is involved in schools to raise awareness and lead actions in favor of reforestation. For university student Vanessa, the activism approach has now taken the form of intense advocacy and climate strikes every Friday.
I started the strike about the Congo rainforest. I was really shocked to find out that there are many people out there who don't even know the existence of the Congo rainforest, yet it is the second largest in the world after the Amazon. So it is going under destruction and no one is even talking about it.
The continent, which emits only 4% of greenhouse gases, is significantly affected by climate change. However, these African activists sometimes find it difficult to break into the international scene. Example in 2020, when Vanessa finds herself excluded from a photo of young international climate activists alongside the young Swedish icon Greta Thunberg.
I feel like Africa is not getting the attention that it deserves to get, and we need more attention than ever before. This is because Africa is one of the least emitters of carbons, but it is going to be affected most by the climate crisis. In fact, we are already seeing the impact of climate change in Africa. Through the tycoons, we are seeing very many people dying and starving to death because of droughts, and we are having crazy floods in Kampala and in various parts of Africa. Therefore, we need more attention to Africa, to the African climate activists, because they have a lot to say and a lot to fight for. If we are to achieve climate justice, it will have to be a fair game, because most people think that Africa is not really that important, but actually people are dying in Africa.
Yet, in Kampala itself, it's not always easy to capture the attention of young people, as Maurice noted.
Like, I'm disappointed because I've been telling my friends to join me, and many feels like they're afraid to do so. Many of them have time, but I don't know, or else they were not taught about that. They need to be taught how it works and how bad it is.
This does not prevent these young people from the continent from following in the footsteps of Greta Thunberg by showing their commitment, investing in renewable energy and adding the fight against poverty to their demands, proving that behind the quest for a better environment, there is the promise of more prosperity for all.
When lost, explore. When blocked, innovate. When all is closed, build. In a time of recession, accelerate. Now is the time to find opportunities, to come together and curate new deals, track investments, and close deals.
Let the transactions begin.
Join us at the 2021 African Investment Forum and invest in Africa's future. Build back boldly, better, greener, and faster.
Welcome to the second part of our show. Despite the threat of global warming, Africa must remain pragmatic in the face of those urging the continent to turn away from fossil fuels. This is, in a sense, what the African Development Bank's president Akimwumi Adesina said. According to him, natural gas is fundamental to Africa's energy. The statement comes as the price of gas continues to rise. From Kenya to Nigeria, this rise in prices is forcing a growing number of African households to return to wood fires for household cooking. The Lomé-Ouagadougou-Niamey road corridor, over 1,000 kilometers long, is off to a good start. After Burkina Faso, Togo has just signed an agreement with the World Bank, one of the main financiers of the project. The site should last 6 years and it will become an essential logistics axis in the region. It should serve 65% of the population of Togo, 21% of that of Burkina Faso and 7% of that of Niger. Among its expected benefits, support for local economic development and resilience to security risks for weakened regions around the corridor. By 2024, all inhabitants of the ECOWAS region could have an identity card. This is the flagship policy on issues related to statelessness within the economic community of West African states adopted in Lomé. The objective is to quantify the number of people without nationality and to succeed in eradicating the phenomenon, which is very prevalent in West Africa. The COVID-19 pandemic has propelled the production of ethanol from cassava, which is also used to make disinfectant gel. But even before this craze, more and more farmers had started to turn to this plant, cheaper and easier to grow than corn, for example. In Zambia, production exceeds 4 million tons per year, and women are more and more present in this sector. A report by Aurélie Turc.
Easier to grow than corn, cassava has become the staple food for almost 1 billion people worldwide. Over 200 million Africans, more than 25% of the population, make their highly nutritious dishes from this root crop.
We make fritters.
More recently, the plant is increasingly sought after, for another reason, by a booming industry, the production of ethanol, glucose, starch and flour. Yet despite growing demand and its production potential, cassava is still the poor relative. Cultivated for the most part by small farmers, cut off from mass markets and agro-industries. This is a paradoxical situation, and one that the 3ACP program aims to rectify.
In Cameroon, we have helped the cassava sector to update its strategy. We have then also contributed to develop and implement a package of intervention addressing mainly the transformation and commercialization of the product.
One example is this processing project, co-financed by the World Bank. Among other developments, the system makes it possible to partially replace corn flour used to make bread, which is imported, by cassava flour, which is significantly cheaper. This is one of the processing possibilities currently being evaluated by specialists from the World Bank. These new techniques will certainly give the produce greater added value and will in turn help boost earnings for many women, as Mrs. Manjung explains.
We refer to cassava as cocoa for women, as women do 90% of the cultivation. The 500 women in our cooperative are no longer as poor as they used to be. Their living conditions have improved considerably and will keep on improving because we're moving on to the next phase. If they cultivated 1 hectare before, they will now cultivate 3.
The local modification of the flash dryer, a dryer washer peeler, is the keystone of this pilot project and will help develop the area's engineering sector. The total cost of aiding the sector is estimated at around €600,000.
We have to make the move from an artisanal activity to a semi-industrial one. The flash dryer is a vital tool. Our aim is to set up a prototype. I'm working with someone from Nigeria, where production is more large-scale, to adapt the machine to suit our local production.
Specifically adapted for processing cassava, the flash dryer also makes it possible to recycle the remains of the plant for animal fodder once the starch has been extracted. In Zambia, cassava production jumped from over 800,000 to 4.7 million tons over a 10-year period. and there is more than the alimentary outcome at stake. Industrial exploitation of cassava is booming across the entire sub-region. The aim of the 3ACP program, in partnership with COMESA, is the professionalization of the sector and, in the long run, better economic integration in the regional market for all of the industry's players.
Farmers have changed the agronomic aspect, how to produce cassava. And they're using smaller amounts and ridges, and that has tremendously increased on the quantity of what is planted per hectare. Knowledge has been imparted into these farmers, and they know how to produce good cassava. And the most important thing is how now do we appreciate their effort by linking them to good markets.
Over 5,000 farmers and several producer associations situated in the central provinces and Luapala have benefited from targeted training. These courses are designed to improve their agricultural techniques and familiarity with the markets. The results have been surprising.
The importance of the training is really to improve the capacity of most of these organizations so that they're able to operate as viable and profitable business enterprises. The training focused on subjects ranging from enterprise development, formulating business plans, logistics management, contract negotiations and basically contracts, as well as marketing and group marketing.
Co-founder of an agricultural cooperative with 32 members, including 10 women, this cassava grower attended a comprehensive training course in agronomy and management.
We know what we have spent on production, and then what percentage can we put as a small profit. You know, after we know all the costs, including transport, we have the packages. After these trainings, now we knew exactly how to go about with our business.
By pooling profits derived from improved management of their respective plantations, the 32 associated cassava growers have been able to obtain funding to build offices for the cooperative and to purchase these 2 machines. Last year, they managed to produce 5 tons of top-quality cassava flour. As well as offering training in agricultural techniques and management, the 3ACP program and its educational aspects have led to a clear change of mentalities among the beneficiaries themselves, as well as a growing awareness of the issues at stake.
Ululine ulupia ulutusanga mkulima kwa ndiuku elu alengo kutila kubyo kutanunuko kufaya mlaiti ukubika pano pafamu ululine lupia elu alengo kutila kubyo kushiteji kayo pakutila tule bomba bwino muwika shibwesu nomba ukulingana na maka yako bomba muri tuteine ulupia na lupelebela panti finti filefa ikoku kitafilifingi kutina akabyo kwata trai cassava pantu amainsa nishi teti tukwate okupala tuutenga tatukwete trai cassava iyo ngana tukwata ikyakumikila kutute mu mayinsa isita yonse kwitwa kwata okula kwata tuute ukana putuka.
Donald Kalungushi now sells his cassava flour and starch to the Zambezi paper mills, unit packaging and wood processing, 3 of the main industries using cassava in the region.
Well, it's now time to reward our loyal viewers of Business Africa. It's up to you to answer to the following questions. If you're drawn among those who have given the correct answers, you will win $150. This is game number 563. So listen carefully to the 2 questions that follow, and good luck. First question: when was the Ghana Innovation Hub created? 2016, 2019 or 2020? Second question: who started the Friday climate strikes in Kampala? Greta Thunberg, Leah Namugarwa or Vanessa Nakati? You know the answers. You can participate now by going to our website africaonair.com, answer the questions, fill out your form, and good luck. And of course, don't forget to include your contact details, name, address, telephone, email, and the number of the game you are entering with your answers, of course. This game, for example, is game number 563. Check out the terms and conditions in the replay section of our news website, africaonair.com. The winner will receive $150 as our winner this week. Congratulations, you gave the correct answers to our game number 562. Here are the details. First question, where did the Africa-France Summit take place this year? Answer, Montpellier. Second question, what can we do with no-code technology? Answer, applications. Well, that's it. Business Africa is over for today. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel, for a new edition of Initiative Africa. We'll speak to the Dean of the Agence Universitaire de la Francophonie, Slim Halbos, for the second part of his interview. In the meantime, you can watch this program again on our news website, africaonair.com, as well as on all our social media channels. Feel free to share, like, and comment using the hashtag Business Africa TV show. Take care of yourselves and see you next week. Goodbye.